Hello and welcome to your Club Everton Daily. The date is Monday the 13th of February 2012. It's the day before Valentine's. Well, we've not got much love to give here, come on, it's football. Anyway, I'm back on the dailies. You may notice the new format kicked in this week. We're going to do the dailies Monday to Friday. We're going to do the podcast usually on Saturday evening. That gives me Sunday off. Because, you know, just doing all these every day of the week, it does wear thin. So, I'm going to give myself Sundays off from now on. Well, obviously that'll change, you know, depending on when we're playing. So, for example, week after next, I'm going to have the whole weekend off because we're not playing. Because the derby got postponed, thanks to the Red Shite and their involvement in the Carling Cup final. We were supposed to be playing the derby that week. The other implication of that, of course, is that next week's match is going to be London Northern's final appearance in Everton's shirt. So hopefully we get a decent crowd, we give them a fantastic send off, and again, nudge nudge, wink wink, cup run. Will that be enough to convince them to stay? Maybe a trip to Wembley? Maybe. I would think that's the CV to go along with that shiny MLS Cup you won back in November, December, whatever month it was. Can't remember. Anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about on the daily. We're going to round up the news. Roundtable is once again on Doglead and Suarez. Anyone who listened to the last podcast will have heard my almighty rants against that, but they've apologised. There's more to that though, as we'll get into when we get to that. We're going to round up the gossip, and our article of interest for the first time I think ever on the dailies isn't from When Saturday Comes, it's actually from the Football Fancast, and it is the top 10 great footballing mysteries of recent times. Players who we expected the world from, but turned out to be flops. Anyway, that's then, this is now, let's get on with it, and we'll start with the news. And the first piece of news, Stephen Pienaar admitted scoring just 5 minutes into his Goodison return was an unbelievable feeling. May as well admit this straight away. This is off the official Everton site. It's written by Matt Gamble, who's also on Twitter at AFC_Matt Gamble. South African, who moved back to Everton on loan from Tottenham on deadline day, scored the first goal in the Toffees' 2-0 win over Chelsea. Hugely popular during his initial tenure on Merseyside, Pienaar was delighted to repay the Blues fans for their tremendous welcome that he's enjoyed since returning. After the game, he declared, "It's always great to play at Goodison. I had a warm welcome from the supporters. I was a bit nervous, but as soon as I got the goal, I was more relaxed, and it is a great result for the team. The feeling's unbelievable. It's my first goal for almost a year in the Premier League, so I was going wild. It means a lot to the supporters to score a goal against Chelsea. The supporters were terrific last time I was here, and the reception before the game was unbelievable. Everton have now won the last 3 home games, adding the Chelsea scalp to wins over Man City and Fulham. Pienaar's cup tied for next weekend's visit to Blackpool, but is keen for the Blues to continue their solid progress. We just have to take it game by game," he said. "The result was magnificent, but next week the FA Cup is coming up, and that's what we'll be looking to. The result lifts the confidence of the players, and we're saying we have to keep on winning now." Excuse me. Alright, so that's the first news piece. The next one. David Moyes insists he's not taking Everton as far as he can, and he hopes to still be the club's manager when new investment is finally found. The Scot celebrates 10 years in charge of Goodison Park next month, and he has drawn praise from the way he has ensured Everton remain a competitive force in the Premier League on a limited transfer budget. He has been mooted as a contender to take charge of Tottenham Hotspur if Harry Redknapp leaves White Hart Lane at the end of the season to become England coach. However, rather than jump ship to North London, Moyes wants the Toffees to emulate the progress Tottenham have made in recent years, providing that German Bill Kenwright can secure fresh investment. David Moyes spoke to the People and said, "I take pride in the fact that it's only in the last 10 years that Everton have really come back to life. The history of Everton has been great, where I think in the decade I've been here, I've established us as a top 10 Premier League club. It's been an incredible 10 years. I wouldn't swap them for all the difficulties we've had. Over most of the years we've been consistently competing against Tottenham, but the last couple of years that's changed because of the investment they've made at Spurs. So it's my belief and hope that I will still be in the building when our time comes to make the same change Spurs have done. My chairman will need investment to make that happen, and he's out there looking for it. But that prospect keeps me going here because I want the chance to be able to take Everton where Tottenham have gone. I don't want to leave this club, then see someone else come in and get the chance to do all the things I've dreamed I could do here with the right investments. He said, I will know when I've taken this club as far as I can, and I'd hate to think I'd overstay my welcome here at Everton. I hope I'd never be hanging around like a bad smell. I don't think it's quite that yet. The supporters can see what we're trying to do, even though we're in a bit of a transitional period. And before I move on, I'd just like to say that, on a personal note at least, he's got my backing. Just the work he's done over the 10 years has been nothing short of incredible, and maybe my view might be blanketed by the fact that, yeah, I grew up on the Everton in the 90s, seeing nothing but despair, and they're obviously the older generation of Blues. No offence to these older generations of Blues, because they're well within the right to, you know, expect more and more, but I still think he's doing a great job, and he deserves the opportunity to carry on doing that great work if he wants to. That's just my opinion, and I'm sure I'm going to get shit for it, but, you know, that's what I'm going to say. Well, he's just got me back, and hopefully he will get the opportunity to take charge of an Everton side that actually has the resources to be competitive. Well, that's just me. Anyway, the final piece of Everton news is that the Democratic Republic of Congo's internationals agent, that we're talking about, Anderlecht striker Diemwesi Bokani, is a transfer target for both us and the Shite. His agent, Fabio Baglio, confirmed earlier this week the scouts from both clubs were watching his client's progress. Said he's too good for the Belgian league and he knows it. English clubs can't ignore his strong performances. It was claimed that Liverpool were keen to land this 26-year-old, but it has now emerged that he faced competition from local rivals Everton. Stoke have also been credited with an interest in the player, who has enjoyed a return to form in recent months. He joined Monaco from standard Liège in 2010 but failed to settle in France, and has also struggled during a loan spell at Wolfsburg in the second half of last season. He returned to Belgian football with a transfer to Anderlecht in the summer, and has since scored 6 times in 12 games, including a brace in last weekend's 4-2 win over Genk. So that's a bit of Everton-related transfer news. Not very often we get to see that. Anyway, that's it for the news. That's time for the roundtable discussion topic. Luis Suarez and Kenny Dalglish apologise. But why? Here's why. Luis Suarez and Kenny Dalglish apologised for the handshake row against Man United after the direct intervention of the club's US owners, BBC Sport learns. I've spoken with the manager since the game at Old Trafford and I realise I got things wrong, Suarez said. Dalglish reacted angrily to questions about the incident after the game. He said on Sunday, all of us have a responsibility to represent this club in a fit and proper manner. That applies equally to me as Liverpool manager. When I went on TV after yesterday's game, I hadn't seen what had happened, but I did not conduct myself in a way befitting of a Liverpool manager during that interview, and I'd like to apologise for that. BBC Sport understands that the apologies contain the input of the club's American owners Fenway Sports Group. No one is more important than the club. Apologies were necessary, said a senior source at Fenway. However, the owners believe Suarez can salvage his Liverpool career if he demonstrates better judgment in the future, according to the source. Man United also released a statement on Sunday which read, Man United thanks Liverpool for the apologies issued following Saturday's game. Everyone at Old Trafford wants to move on from this. The history of our two great clubs is one of success and rivalry unparalleled in British football. That should be the focus in the future of all those who love the clubs. Suarez was of course banned for 8 matches for racially abusing Patrice Evra during the Premier League encounter at Anfield in October. His refusal to shake Evra's hand on Saturday contributed to an ill-tempered game which United won 2-1. Evra appeared to taunt Suarez, who scored the late consolation goal, by celebrating next to him at the end of the match. Suarez said, I've not only let him, referring to Dalglish, down, but also the club and what it stands for, and I'm sorry, I made a mistake and I regret what happened. I should have shaken Patrice Evra's hands before the game, and I want to apologise for my actions. I would like to put this whole issue behind me and concentrate on playing football. Ian Ayre, the managing director of the club, Liverpool, released a statement which read, We are extremely disappointed Luis Suarez did not shake hands with Patrice Evra before yesterday's game. The player had told us beforehand that he would, but then chose not to do so. He was wrong to mislead us and wrong not to offer his hand to Patrice Evra, who's not only let himself down but also Kenny Dalglish, his teammates and the club. It's been made absolutely clear to Luis Suarez that his behaviour was not acceptable. Suarez has now apologised for his actions, which was the right thing to do. However, all of us have a duty to behave in a responsible manner, and we hope he now understands what is expected of anyone representing Liverpool Football Club. Doglead added, Ian Ayre has made the club's position absolutely clear, and he is right. It is right that Luis Suarez has now apologised for what happened at Old Trafford. To be honest, I was shocked to hear that the player had not shaken hands, having been told earlier in the week he would do so. After the incident, Sir Alex Ferguson called Suarez a disgrace and suggested he should never play for Liverpool again, while the PFA Chief Executive Gordon Taylor described Suarez's conduct as disrespectful, inappropriate and embarrassing. Meanwhile, Sports Minister Hugh Robertson told Sky Sports News there is an issue that still needs to be tackled. It goes beyond racism. You can hear vile chanting about managers and opposition players. I don't think that really has any place in modern society. If we don't accept it on the high streets, I see no reason why we should accept it rather than a football crowd. So, he is disgusting. He still is. So is Kenny. He wouldn't have apologised unless they were told to by the people up at the top. And what are Liverpool fans saying? They're clamouring behind Dalglish and basically kicking off at the people who saved them from the brink of oblivion for, maybe trying to save face and, maybe give the club a bit of standing in PR terms. Oh, such fickle twats. Just for a bit of proof, here was an article from the day before. Kenny Dalglish is implied that media scrutiny played a part in inciting Saturday's lunchtime feisty match between Liverpool and Man United. No, it was Luis Suarez being a swat cake. Swat cake, where the fuck did that come from? I don't know. Being a twat basket that ensured that happened. And I'm not going to go any further. If you want to hear the rants, go and listen to the last episode of Club Everton Radio. But anyway, now it's time for the gossip column. As always, the source and story. Sunday Mirror reports that Tottenham are lining up club legend Jurgen Klinsmann as Harry Redknapp's replacement if their current manager takes on the England job. Spurs are also interested in bringing in former temporary Chelsea chief Gus Hiddink. The Racist on Sunday reports that Redknapp will receive a formal approach to take over as England manager from the FA within the next few days, or he will tell them that he must see out the season with Tottenham. Metro reports that Benfica midfielder Nicolas Gaitan could join Man United or Man City in the summer if they meet the Portuguese club's £25 million valuation of the player. The Independent on Sunday reports that Arsene Wenger has attacked the creative Spanish media linking talisman Robin van Persie with a move to Real Madrid. Another gossip. The Prime Minister David Cameron will stage an anti-racism football summit amid growing fears that incidents allegedly fueled by racism are harming the image of the game in England. Thanks, Kenny. The Mirror reports that former Wolves striker Steve Bull believes that the club can drag local rivals West Brom into a relegation fight by defeating the Baggies on Sunday. Oh, yes. I've just given away that I'm reading out-of-date articles. Anyway, London Evening Standard reports that Tottenham fans gave Harry Redknapp overwhelming favourite to succeed Fabio Capello's England boss a stirring reception at White Hart Lane during the club's 5-0 win over Newcastle. Despite being hammered 5-0 by Spurs, Newcastle can still qualify for the Champions League according to Alan Shearer. Copite delusion going up north there. But then again, Geordies have always had more or less the same delusion as well. Talkshite reports that Tottenham defender Michael Dawson says that the team's forward line of Adebayor and Louis Saha were unplayable against Newcastle. The Observer reports that Man City outcast Carlos Tevez could still play in the Premier League title run-in if he returns from Argentina, says Roberto Mancini. The Sunday Mirror reports that Arsene Wenger has told Gervinho that he expects him back in England on Tuesday, giving him 1 day to party if the Ivory Coast win the African Cup of Nations in Libreville, which he didn't. He lost on what was the most ridiculous penalty shootout I've ever seen in my life. Sunday Mirror reports that Man United goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar has ruled out former Man United goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar has ruled out making a Paul Scholes-esque comeback by saying the one thing he misses about football is the fresh air. Sunday Times reports that Sunderland striker Stéphane Sessegnon would entertain a return to former club Paris Saint-Germain. Sunday Times reports Celtic are considering a summer move for Portuguese-Brazilian forward Adinho Jr., son of former Bradford City player Adinho. And finally, Italy legend Alessandro Del Piero has further cemented his legacy by allegedly waking a girl from a 2-week coma simply by speaking to her. Del Piero is Jesus. I'm skeptical. Alright, well that's it for the gossip. And we'll close off today's daily with the article of interest, which is the 10 biggest mysteries of recent times in football. These are 10 of the people who we expected to be big hits in the Premier League but turned out to be flops. So let's have a look at the list. And these are not in specific order. It's not a chart. It's just, 10 random names thrown in. So the first one, Fernando Morientes. One of the best strikers in the world when he joined Liverpool in 2005 for £9 million. Morientes failed to adapt to English football and struggled to make a mark on Merseyside, a factor that eventually may have ended his career. Morientes went from being on the form of his life to not being able to find the net at all. Unfortunately, a wasted talent in the Premier League, and he failed to find any real form from then on. Number 2, Bebe. After only 25 professional appearances to his name, Man United felt it was enough to splash £7.5 million on Bebe, who has failed to make an impact on the Red Devils since the transfer in 2010. Bebe is yet to make an appearance on loan at Besiktas this season, and it may well be that the Portuguese forward is one of very few poor signings by Sir Alex Ferguson. Number 3, Bosco Balaban. No goals in 2.5 years of English League football is hardly any way to reward a £6 million transfer to Aston Villa. Balaban arrived with high expectations after becoming a prolific striker for Dynamo Zagreb in his younger days. However, his poor form in front of goal made him one of the worst signings in Premier League history, even though he's gone on to become a top striker in Greece, Belgium and Croatia. Number 4, Alfonso Alves. An impressive goal scoring record of 47 goals in 39 games for Heerenveen, including 7 goals in one game, prompted Middlesbrough to fork out over £13 million for the striker. Just 10 goals in 2 years at the Riverside was a disappointment to say the least, and he failed to connect with the Borough fans, which resulted in him being sold for £7 million to Qatar. An £8 million loss on a player that was expected to take the club to the next level was a mystery to all, but one that the club failed to recover from. Number 5, if it ever loads. Number 5, Franny Jeffers. Made his Premier League debut at 16 years old for Everton, Jeffers was widely tipped to become one of England's top strikers of the generation. An £8 million move to Arsenal did not go well for the Fox in the box, as he only managed to score a staggering 15 league goals in 10 years after leaving Everton, and has now played for 10 clubs in that time. Oh my, how the mighty have fallen. Number 6, Juan Sebastian Veron. The man who cost over £40 million to Premier League clubs Man United and Chelsea was a huge disappointment in his 3 years in England, not living up to anywhere near his value. The Argentinian moved on loan to Inter Milan, but is now playing in his home country for, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of that club, where he is the club captain. His talent was undoubted, but never really worth him in England, as a sudden fall from grace was a particular shock, but Veron will always be remembered for being a complete waste of money. Number 7, I think, Mido, a Premier League flop that has played for 12 clubs in 13 years, failing to impress at any of them, and somehow people still sign him. Spells at Tottenham, Middlesbrough, Wigan and West Ham, produced 22 goals in 4 years, begging the question, just what the fuck did the club see in him? Currently failing, in Egypt for Zamalek, where he scored a record of 1 goal in 1 game. However, he's been there for over a year. Number 8, Freddie Sears. Probably the most overhyped player in recent history, Sears was one of the most prolific strikers in youth football for years and scored on his full debut for West Ham, exciting the Upton Park crowd and expectations soared. Just 1 goal in 4 years, including 3 barren loan spells at championship clubs have brought Sears back down to earth, and he has struggled to make it in men's football. The future is now not so bright for the West Ham reserve player. Number 9, Jermaine Genius. After breaking through the Nottingham Forest youth system and following that with a successful spell at Newcastle. Genius was expected to make himself a regular in the England squad, but injuries and a lack of form scuppered that aim. A move to Tottenham Hotspur for £7 million looked to rejuvenate his career, but it has gone from bad to worse for a player who's failed to break into the first team at White Hart Lane and is now warming the bench for his new employers at Aston Villa. And finally, number 10, Savio. West Ham's record transfer signing at just over £9 million. Savio managed 10 league appearances before being sold to Fiorentina, who he's yet to make an appearance for. The tricky winger was not really given a chance in the Premier League, but loan spell after loan spell during the past 3 years have shown his lack of ability in the end. Some terrific scouting work from West Ham there. So that is it, and thanks again to the Football Fancast for today's article of interest. You can find them at footballfancast.com. Alright, so that is it for today's daily. Thank you very much for listening. Social network links, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. All the links are in the description. Don't forget to join us on our website, clubeverton.co.uk, and on our official forum, clubeverton.co.uk/forum. Don't forget as well to nominate the Fallotonians for the Shorty Award. Go to Twitter, mention @Fallotonians, mention Shorty Awards, and use the hashtag soccer. That'll count as a nomination. And finally, Club Everton Dailies are brought to you by Hans Stores, the official travel partner of clubeverton.co.uk. For more information, visit hansstores.co.uk or give Hannah a ring on 077 521 21395. Alright, so that is it. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.